Welcome to Meadowbrook Memories Podcast. I am Jelly, otherwise known as Glacier Prince, and my co-host is Hitchcock, otherwise known as Alfred Henry. Our mission on this podcast series is to explore the stories behind the magic that was created at Meadowbrook. When over a span of 4 years, between 1982 and 1986, we saw the transformation of a small co-educational school with less than 1,200 students, 800 boys, 800 girls and 400 boys into a successful sports and scholastic champion, winning 7 major trophies, 3 Sunlight Cup, 2 Topping Cup, 1 Walker Cup and 1 Nutriment Shield. And to crown these achievements, Meadowbrook also produced 2 Rhodes Scholars, Cavell Creighton in 1987 and Andrea Wright in 1989, both graduates of Meadowbrook in 1983. In this podcast series, we'll be speaking to persons, both males and female, who are actively involved in this incredible journey, along with friends and staff at Meadowbrook, which inspired the environment which created this golden era. We hope you enjoy our discussion. Please give us as much support and encouragement as you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. Welcome and thanks for joining us. Go. Alright, ready. Today is Sunday, May 15, 2022. Welcome back to Meadowbrook Memories, and this is conversation number 16, as I would say. Me, as usual, Jelly, our Glacier, our Prince, our Lance, any one of them will do. My co-host today is Donovan Thomas, our Dante, our Tegreg, who don't need no introduction, because he's stepping up again for the second time in 3 weeks to cover for my regular co-host Alfred Hitchcock Henry, who is doing umpiring duties. Our guest this week will need a proper introduction, as me like how Dante put it, because he's not so well known in the Meadowbrook sporting, because he is not a sportsman or associated with any sports team at Meadowbrook like him cousin and today's co-host Dante. My memory of our next guest goes back to some of our most robust political disagreement and informal debates that took place in the library and under the tree beside Peck at Meadowbrook in 1980. It was the most volatile and acrimonious time in Jamaican history, and is a testament to the magic of Meadowbrook and the true class of our next guest, that we at Meadowbrook could have had daily political disagreement on our Meadowbrook campus in 1980, and no bad feelings or injury was ever envisioned by anyone during those tumultuous times. If the magic we experienced at Meadowbrook during those days, where vibrant disagreement were facilitated and Meadowbrook still flourished, could have been duplicated in our country, Jamaica could be a more peaceful place today. But without further ado, let me introduce my formal debating opponent and my good friend, Oral Shah. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Thank you very much, Jelly, Prince, and my cousin Dante. I'm so proud to be on this podcast today and to contribute my own experience with Meadowbrook for the 6 years that I spent at the campus, and to share some of my experiences that many can benefit from in terms of my transformation from a little poor, marginalized,
underprivileged, I can say.
Youngster from the hills of Red Hills, who just didn't know what value education can contribute to national development until my sojourn at Meadowbrook High School. I must indicate how happy I am to be part of this arrangement, and for the wonderful work you are doing, Jelly, and your team, and as teachers, I call him Hitchcock, to bring these conversations which bring out the memories of our days at Meadowbrook High School. Of course, I cannot forget you, Jelly, because you were one of my robust political foe. in the years and the months leading up to the most important elections in Jamaica, the 1980 elections, and the robust conversations and discussions that we have had, in that church hall at Meadowbrook, where the sixth form classes used to be held, and also the library, because you know what side I was on, and and there were just a few of us that were on my side. The majority of the robust ones were on your side, and so I have to lead the pack on my side, because at some point the robustness of the discussions would get some of my other people on the other side, a knockout punch, and I had to stand up to continue fighting
Yeah,
for our belief of what we think is best.
you stood up well, my brother. You never back down at
So,
all.
those were some memorable days, and as you mentioned in your opening, if we could continue our debates and discussions, on the politics of Jamaica and political governance, and do it in a way as we used to do at Meadowbrook, and it would do us a lot in Jamaica. I know that we have changed significantly from the 1980s in terms of how elections were run and governed to where we are now. We don't have that kind of divisive and culture type arrangement as we had in the 1980s. No. So it's we do things differently, but it was great having those debates during that time, Jelly, and those were some of the memorable times I had at the
Yeah,
campus.
man. For me too. For me too. It was. I'll never forget that. When Hazel called me and tell me say she in touch with me, I say yeah. Send me a number, but me talk to him, because I love to get on this money and sing. So, but so Greg, introduce yourself, because you step up big time again without any problem, and I love that. So introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, as you say, I need no introduction. Donovan Thomas, Tegre. Dante, popularly known as. But, first I want to say it is indeed an honor and a distinct pleasure to be here on the podcast with Oral, my cousin. And for the record, also a political foe. But
You were on that side of things.
Yeah, I don't know.
It runs in that side of the family. So why?
Yeah.
It's not unusual about that at all, no.
And that, that's and I'll add out as well to what Jelly was saying. We are able to, and I must say we have an excellent relationship, as Oral say. We play domino together, we link up together, we chat and we laugh, and we make our little political jabs as well.
Yeah.
And we've never had any kind of acrimony stemming from that, I must say. But Oral is somebody that I as I have looked up to in terms of his industriousness from high school, and one of my many mentors from Meadowbrook. And for that, it's a real pleasure to be here on the podcast with him. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that. So let me kick off with my first question, Oral, because by now you know the first question now. Did you choose?
Yes. I've been listening to your podcast.
Did you choose Meadowbrook, or Meadowbrook chose you?
Well, it was Meadowbrook who chose me, because I came to Meadowbrook from a school up in the hills called Rockall College. I I never participated in common entrance because at the time, discussing common entrance with my mother was like going from one year to the next because she doesn't know what common entrance is. She just wants me out of the house and to go to school every day because she doesn't have the time to take care of us because she has to go into the market to generate an income to take care of all of us. So um, my sister, I got into Meadowbrook on the performance coattail of my sister, Justina Shaw, who was a student at the time and was doing exceptionally well. And I was in grade 8 at Rockall All Age, about to do the grade 9 achievement test, which you know existed at the time. And that would give me, and if you were successful at grade 9 achievement test, then you end up into the secondary school system, not necessarily the traditional high school system. And that score, she was doing well at Meadowbrook, and they didn't want to get me into the secondary school system. And so my mother approached Mr. Thorpe, who was the principal at the time, and indicated to Mr. Thorpe, I was doing exceptionally well at Rockall All Age, consistently perform in the top 5 at school every year and had an excellent attendance at school and still continue to have that attendance at everywhere I go, even at work. I had to take a sick day or a vacation leave to indicate the kind of
punctuality. I can vouch for that today. You called me exactly upon that 4:30. So yes, I can vouch for that. Your professionalism is exemplary. Let me say that. 'Cause from that time. But go ahead. Sorry.
That's right. And so that's how I got into Meadowbrook. So it was actually Meadowbrook who chose me on the basis of my my sister's performance at Meadowbrook, and discussions with Mr. Thorpe and a very exemplary principal at the time.
So but hold on. You said something I can't make it slip me so early in the discussion. Because you say your mother was not interested or didn't know about common interest at the time. So what changed in a couple of years in terms of say you are go hold on, let me ask you the question. But you are go secondary school or high school, why your mother get interested? The question is, I think you understand the question, but I want to clear to make sure everybody understand. What changed in your mother said why you need to go high school? I put it deep.
Right. So the options of secondary schooling, in terms of the choices, is an eye-opener. So either I go to Tivoli Comprehensive High School or one of those schools in those communities. And that was the driving force for her to look at a different approach because she didn't get into that environment.
That's what I mean.
So if you take the grade 9 achievement test, you're going to end up at some school, generally some school into the deep Kingston area.
In a city, yes. I had a sister-in-law
or one of those high schools, and she didn't want to see me in that based on how I was performing academically at Rockall. So that was her driving force.
So it frightened her then to do the right thing.
It was a frightening experience, and of course, it was the last chance for me to do so because after grade 8, you're out. If you don't move into a formal secondary school system, then your future is uncertain.
But let me ask you something. Because I mentioned that your sister was going to Meadowbrook at the time. Did your sister pass common entrance? And 1 year, 2 years, your sister went to Meadowbrook? Because, as you know, I had a sister go to Meadowbrook in the 60s. And you know, my older brother went to Meadowbrook when I was there. So what year did your sister go to Meadowbrook? And did your sister pass common entrance? And we as Meadowbrook people, them didn't stop we at all. We're Brazilians, we know that, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you answer the question about your sister overall. May I ask you about your sister?
Right, right. I had indicated to you that based on the time when I entered Meadowbrook, and where she was, in her form, she would have entered between 1973 to 1974.
About the same time you start then. Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
But the name doesn't ring a bell to you?
What's her name?
Destina Shaw.
Destina Shaw.
Mm.
I have to look up in the yearbook, Right? She may have been a year ahead of me. If she entered 73,
Right.
I entered 74, 75. I know
All
if,
right. She would have been ahead of you.
if you if you don't enter the same year as the people, you're not gonna remember them, unless for some reason you come across them, like how me I used to have some robots to beat. But I have a
Right.
yearbook. I'm going to send you the yearbook when I'm done. I have a 74, 75 yearbook. I will send it to you and Dante when I'm done. That you can. I will look through it and see. But go ahead,
Right.
yeah. So your sister did pass common entrance.
She did pass the common entrance, and that's how she got her entry into Meadowbrook. And as I said to you, once you leave from the hills, you have a choice of either Meadowbrook or St. Mary's College. Those were the catchment institutions for schools in the Red Hills, Rockall, and surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you either end up at St. Mary's College or Meadowbrook High School. And if you end up at St. Mary's College and you want to get into Meadowbrook, you have to start the first year or 1 year at St. Mary's College and then apply for a transfer to Meadowbrook.
Oh, I saw that used to work. I didn't even know that.
That's how that used to work. And quite a few of our friends, such as Lyndon Curtis.
Yeah, Lyndon came from St. Mary. Yes.
Right. That's how we came into Meadowbrook.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize I saw the connection. But it's like St. Mary's College is like a feeder ground for Meadowbrook. I didn't know that all right.
Precisely. Because of course it is way up in the hills, further up in the hills, in the above rocks area.
Yeah.
Right. And logistically and transportation wise, it would have been much difficult to get to school, even from Rockall already.
Mm-hmm,
so it was easier to get into Meadowbrook from a logistical perspective. It's just one bus that takes you right down to the foot of Red Hills and you're at school.
You're the Meadowbrook guy. Once you come off a price right to the right, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Whereas you'd have to take up, I think, about 2 or 3.
Above wraps, really. And a bus not really longer than so.
Right. Precisely. So you'd have to do some serious walking.
Yeah. So hold on then, all right.
It was not the most desirable situation.
No. So it was not choice then. And I'm gonna tell you, say that Meadowbrook or St. Mary's College from Rockall, it's like I say. It's Meadowbrook 1, 2. It's like I say, I hope they get through for Meadowbrook. So that I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
As you know at the time, it was always competitive to get into any one of those Red Hills corridor high school, whether that be Calabar or Meadowbrook.
Or Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
Because there were not many schools around. We had high populations right across the communities. That northern St. Andrew community.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that northern belt stretches all the way back up to Stony Brook.
Yeah.
And that area, and it's a high population area.
Yeah.
If you have only 2 catchment schools, then it's going to be a competitive situation.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of CAS and UA.
And you, yeah. Unless you're well bright. So the conversation between your mother and Mr. Tarp now, you have any idea what the conversation they got? Were you a part of it?
No, I wasn't a part of it. I didn't know that she had that conversation with Mr. Thorpe. All I was told is that for the new school year in 1977, I was going to Meadowbrook. So that discussions would have taken place just before the summer break, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose that all of those conversations would have started with my sister and my mother and the dreadful situation that I would have ended up in a inner city school. That was a dreadful thought.
So all that make you feel when your mother come and tell you, say, boy, I got Meadowbrook. When you were, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's a very good question. The fact of the matter is that I didn't feel anyway. My sister was already there. She has been telling me about how good the school is and continues to be at the time. And it was just a transition for me to move from one school to the next. But as I said to you, it was a means. I just did not fathom, conceptualize what the end would be. In other words,
Yeah.
as I said to you, schooling for me during those days was a means for my mother to get out of the house, because she and my father, who was a farmer, she was a higgler. She has to be out there hustling, selling all kinds of things to take care of us, because there were about 9 of us, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so we had to get out, you know. So the reasoning behind going to school did not come until I get into Meadowbrook and start to associate with students in forms A and B, which is something that I want to share, because
Where I get to that.
once you get into that stream,
Yeah, man,
you get network with a different set of students.
Yeah, man, where I get to that transition there. Yeah, Dante, you sound like you have a question.
Yeah, man. Which farm you started in, Oral?
Good
Started
question.
at 3D.
You started in third farm.
Third form, because of course, I would have, you start at third form, because then you would have missed grade 6 would take you to first form, right?
Yeah,
because that's the common entrance form as we know it. So when you leave from grade 6 with a common entrance pass, you go into first form, right?
Okay.
So I'd have missed the opportunity. So I went to grade 7 at Rockall, which would be equivalent to form 2 at any high school, right?
Yeah.
Like grade 8, so I moved, yes. So that's how I ended up at form 3.
3D. So
3D, which is and as you know at Meadowbrook, it was from A to E.
Yeah, no. When I went to school, it was A, B, and C. So when about D, it's like they must say, okay, they must have some lower people on the C, because I know that go oral. I was in B. I was never in A. At least I never aspired to be in an A anyway. I was in B. I was just about average, just about in the middle there. So.
But it was just A and B at the time when you entered, right?
A, B, and C. We entered in 1974. It was A, B, and C. It was three first farm and 3 second farm at the time, which is one his sister was in. So yeah. So hold on there. The first year come to Meadowbrook now, what was the impression? Did you go up on the campus before? Never.
No. My first entry on the campus was my first day at school.
And what the impression you get when you land on the campus? What was the first impression you get when you come on the campus?
Of course, the first thing that struck me was the environment, because you're in a very upper class environment, school environment. The community itself was a highly middle class community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm coming from a deep rural early school, with students who doesn't wear shoes, right? The mother cannot afford a belt in their pants, and their shirts are not ironed out properly, and all of these things. And you come into this environment where you start to see clear-skinned people who spoke differently from I did, and who are beautiful and mine.
Repeat that word. You kind of break out. Repeat that. Repeat what you just say.
Right. So you're coming from an environment where the look and feel of the students were different. They had a lighter skin shade. Their smiles were more pleasant than mine, and which is something which take this thing, because that institution has transformed me also in terms of how I take care of my health, both physical health and dental health and all of these things.
Yeah. Oh, you see, China describes when it came on about 2-3 weeks ago as when you go Meadowbrook in those days, when I go 74, 75, 76, like you and your sister got 73, Meadowbrook was like Colombia. And by that to me, you look, it's like it could have easily be a school and a picture of the people when you see in Colombia. Somewhere.
Precise. Most of these people, of course, would have come from the upper part of St. Anne.
Yeah, Meadowbrook Evendale though. Yeah.
Upper Avondale, the Olivia Road, the Eastham, and all of those areas. And of course, at the time in Jamaica, we had a lot of white people in Jamaica.
Yes.
A lot of people that know how Jamaica was set up in terms of race.
A white, only for white and Chinese, and only for them to the Meadowbrook too. Yes.
Yeah.
I came into this environment where I'm seeing young, pretty girls that I've never seen before. That kind of.
Only on TV, cinema, magazine. You say, wow.
Yes. You somewhat feel, intimidated and to a large extent, you feel as if you are in a lower class based on what you are seeing.
Say, hold on. Your sister never warned you said that you are coming, or you never have them conversation there?
Not at all. I was not given any induction as to what to expect on the campus. I just immerse myself into this situation
but
and work my way around it.
You know what? Oral, in all fairness to her now, man look one thing different than woman. If there's an older brother I have that say no oral, this is where I'm coming in, so.
Yeah. Not at all. And of course my sister was of a lighter shade in terms of skin than
Okay, I hear you. That will make a little difference. I hear you.
The shade of all nine of us, right, Auntie?
Yeah, that's true.
She would look more like your sister.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You all have that in our family, man. In my family, me are the darkest of the shade. So I know it.
So probably she could seamlessly fit in.
Yeah. No understand what I mean. No understand exactly what I mean. She could have blended in easily. I hear
you. The blending was far easier.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, alright, you come on the campus now, yes, rotted. This place different, it just cleaner, look fresher, the environment fresher, the people around you get a better smile. And when the first time you meet Mr. Tarp, what was the impression when you come on now? You must hear about Mr. Tarp and you say, did Mr. Tarp talk to you in the first week, or when did you meet Mr. Tarp?
Well, I want to tell you something, I have never had any kind of discussion or cross paths with Mr. Tarp to any large extent, more than I would observe him coming from the back of the campus where he lived at the time.
Yeah.
And enter his office, which was the main building at the front, right?
Yeah.
So my engagement and induction and onboarding at the school was mainly through Miss Millwood, which was the guy that was counselor.
Yeah. She was my farm teacher. I just got her. Yes, yeah.
Right. Miss Millwood was my mentor. And she knew my background because my sister was on the same kind of a program for disadvantaged children. And so, so that's how I was onboarded. So I only cross paths with Mr. Tarp when he's walking up and down the corridor.
With him dog, yes.
Dog, right.
Yes,
and I didn't see him for much longer because the year after, he retired.
Yeah, Mr. Tarp retired 78, 79. I think that was, yeah. So it's only 1 year I get to Mr. Tarp, then or 2 years.
1 year. 1 year I've seen him, and he was one of the most pleasant person, always smiling, but serious. Yeah.
So who are some of the classmates them you remember now you come in at this environment now? It wasn't alright before that. The same question anyway, but there's a double apartheid. Did anybody else from Upper Rockall join you in that journey or come in at 3D at the time with you? Or it was you was the only one?
There was one other girl named Christine Nicholas.
Okay.
she came into 3D. She, of course, she was successful at Common Entrance, so she would have started at Form 1.
Okay, okay.
And you know, we came together at Form 3 when I came in.
Yes, so she was in the system already before you then. Yes, yeah.
From Form 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she and I didn't have an excellent relationship at all, because she sat behind me at Form 3D,
Mm-hmm.
and she constantly banged the back of my head for whatever reason I just don't know. And I had to seek refuge at one stage, and became a little bit less than pleasant which was unlike me, because it really takes a lot for me to react in a negative way. I have a great tolerance for patience and so on.
Yeah, God bless you for that, Tora.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
God bless you
So
for that.
I'm the only person from at the time in
Yes.
3D
Yes,
from
so what the new people me meet then? She's somebody from Rockall and up in the hill.
Right.
What the new people me come up on campus and meet now and you say, boy. So my
in
people
3D,
remember.
3D?
Yeah, 3D. When you come on 3D and you didn't Meadowbrook now, your first week now, what some of the new people you meet? You say meet Miss Millwood, who was your
Oh yes, man. And then from the faculty I met Miss Millwood. I met Dennis Gooden was my maths teacher at the time, if you know Mr. Gooden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lady named Miss Johnson, who was a history teacher.
Oh, I remember.
Incidentally, Miss Johnson lived in Red Hills, right on the main road. I don't know if you know that, Dante, right?
No.
Yeah, man. She lived just at the house, just above the top of Sterling Castle on your right. That last house before you get down to Pleasant Valley.
A brown lady yeah, man. She was her son used to go Calabar. I know that, man.
Which is a big lawyer now, right?
Her son, really? Yeah. I never know that.
Yeah, big lawyer.
She taught me history to her, so I know exactly what that, Mrs. Johnson,
Right.
yeah.
And she had very nice speckles in her face.
Yes, yeah. I remember that too. Good, yes. Yeah. Nice teacher too, yes. I remember her good too.
Nice, absolutely great teacher.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Her husband was a lawyer, I recall, because, in that kind of community, lawyers are prominent people that you look up to.
Yeah. Our son was part of the Calabar team, Dante, around at the same time when we win. Yeah. Cricket team.
Yeah.
He would move with them Monday. So that's how I remember him. I don't think he would play on the team, but he was a part round the team like you on our team.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I remember him. So what's some of the students them where you meet now? We're new to you or you come to Meadowbrook?
In 3D, my memories of those students have faded somewhat. Really, my memories of the great students that I've met would have been in Form 5 at 4 and 5.
Okay.
Right? Okay. I just got in. My focus now was to equal or better the performance of my sister to keep my place in Meadowbrook.
Your focus was just to survive. Go ahead, Dante. Sorry.
It was a year of adjustment and settling, right? But there was one outstanding gentleman student that I met was Dennis Brown. I don't know, and there was another guy named his last surname was White. Of course, Dennis Brown was his parents were in the mortician business.
Oh, Glenn Brown, you that one. Glenn Brown.
That's the name. Glennis Brown. That
yeah,
was
man, know you that, man. Once you mention the mortician, I know exactly what you that. He was a runner, he was a sprinter.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know exactly what they're talking about here.
Yeah, man. Once it's mentioned, Glenn Brown was his name. Yes, man. Yeah.
Right. So Glennis Brown was also in 3D, and of course, he was front and center in my mind, because he always would talk about his father running Brown's funeral parlor. and somebody coming out of the hills of Red Hills, I was somewhat afraid of him just because he's associated with them.
Oral, that's all
You
I'm
know,
saying. Me and the same boat, come I hide from him. The man at
it's just thinking and how we talk about what his father does, and he was also part of the business after school. He
him,
got him,
him comfortable around that, Oral, and I wasn't comfortable. Yeah.
and I was not comfortable around him
Yeah, 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 yeah,
because
yeah.
of the situation.
Yeah.
So Dennis Brown was somebody who, and he's somebody who helped me as well, financially, because he knew my background and he saw my struggles, and he was a very good guy. He
Yeah.
was a 100 meters runner,
Yeah, man, he
sprinter.
was a sprinter, man. If they got champ to Meadowbrook and all them, win up sports and all them thing. I remember him good, man. Glenn Brown, yeah. Yeah.
Dennis Brown.
Yeah, yeah. Dante, you sound like you have a question for ask. Go ahead.
No.
Okay, all right. So overall, so quite remember some of the people in the 3D, but you talk about your transition because from 3D to 4C, and at the time that happened to you, do you recognize it was a different? You moved up. You moved up in a class, then we could call the resource thing. You moved from class D to class C. Did you realize that this was happening, or you just say, okay, I just a different letter of the alphabet? Go ahead.
It was just a different letter of the alphabet to me because I did not know the grading system and that the grading system was performance based or JIT, right? And so I just moved from 3D to 4C, believing that there is more capacity at C than at D, so there are more space at C than D. So I didn't pay much of attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I got into 5B now, I understand what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the grading system and that the better, brighter students tend to be at A and B.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I realized what was happening around me, and that was a transformational experience.
Okay.
Getting into the B stream.
And exactly what you mean by a transformational experience. Exactly what was different.
Because I associated with some people that have a different level of thinking. Right? Yes, they were more studious, they were focused on studying and extra lessons and running to the library after school and spending time in the library. And by association, I have no choice but to do that, because by association, you move as a cluster, right? And then they would talk about the subjects that they want to do and what they want to do after getting A levels and all of these things. And at the time, as you might know, chartered accounting was a big thing. Everybody wanted to be a chartered accountant. Even me wanted to be a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
And the entry requirement to become a chartered accountant was just 2 A levels. So you think that just passing 2 A levels would make you become a chartered accountant? No, that's not it. That was just an interesting situation. Because the chartered accountant situation is one of the most challenging set of examinations for those who know about it and would have done it. Right? So I come into that grouping where paying attention to school, paying attention to how you dress, how you speak in particular, how you look, and all of these things, how your pants look, what kind of pants you wear, and the whole donning of the brand you wear, and whether or not you have a video or a visa, or whether or not you're moving up to go to school. So the 3 V's were prominent during that time.
Do the 3 V's again, Oral. I never remember that until you tell me earlier.
Volvo and video. Those were the 3 biggest things.
Video, Volvo, and what? And video? What? Video? Oh, yes.
Yes, man. Video came in at that time.
Yeah, man. And for the record, for the young people who have them phone on them, a video is like, it's like sound like ancient days soon. It's like a VHS cassette.
Yeah,
man.
That's why so my whole cultural dimension changed because of the people that I'm now associated with. And so I have no choice but to perform.
Yeah, 'cause your eye open up. Yeah,
Who are performing and who have a sense of direction as to what they want and what their parents want for them.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's where I fell into. And it worked well for me. It worked well. And now I understand what school was, what was the means, and definitely what the end result would be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You start
So it's a,
yeah, go ahead there, Greg. Sorry.
it's a matter of show me your friends and I'll tell you yeah, or
Precisely done, T-Bone.
yeah, so you know,
Exactly,
link
exactly.
link with the people who you want to emulate.
Emulate.
But
And this is, people just don't understand that when you classify or stratify or foster students based on their educational background, what effect and impact that can have on people.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Public concern can have a big impact on people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I see that by joining that cluster of 5B students.
Yeah. But you mentioned something me don't know oral, which I didn't think about until I talk today, you know, because me come from Meadowbrook from first farm. I mean at the B stream. And me take it for granted, you know. Me never even say like say when me I do nothing at all. As a matter of fact, when me just take first time me take GC I took all over my pass and me I look around and say I want me at the wrong. So I was so me even though I'm around the people who know success and understand success. Me not pay no attention to them at all because
You were lucky. I mean, nobody knew that I repeated before. And you know why I did repeat before? And it's because of the same kind of experience. When I got my GCE results, I was successful with 5 subjects.
mm-hmm.
But I did not consider that to be adequate for what these people think I want to be or what would be required to enter university.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that quantity is a key requirement for the competitive situation that I found myself competing with these students. And so I repeated fifth form because at the time I failed maths and English. At fifth form I passed 5 subjects except maths and English.
And then the 2 critical subject them that you can't have a 6.
I couldn't move without those.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And when I repeated fifth form was when Rory came into Meadowbrook.
Was it who?
And Rory
McGregor. Okay.
Rory McGregor. First year he came in was the year when I repeated fifth form. And I passed maths
Yeah.
with a B.
Yeah.
He was the best thing ever for Meadowbrook at the time.
And for you personally.
For me at least, yeah, because I understand what maths was all about and how and some things he just made it easier and the steps that he would have gone through to arrive at a result, nobody else could have done it better than him.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the fact,
Good maths teacher, man.
Excellent maths teacher, Rory. He just made maths easy,
So who are some of the people, students that you buck up on now when you move that transition there from C? You move up the alphabet soup then. Name me some of the people that were inspired and you say, me never know I saw this word. Give me some go ahead.
So I come across people like Donna Dixon. You might know Donna.
Yeah man, yes.
These are some bright guys. Bobble Blake.
Yeah.
Donovan Carr. Michelle Garvey. Andrea Chin. You know these.
All them names I know, man. All them names I know, oral. Yes,
right?
yes.
They're bright. I'm not talking Piggy that, but Piggy had a brother who was at 612. You know what? I don't know. Probably Piggy might be a different thing, but I think I'm just trying to remember his surname. But
Phillips the attack? Oh no, yeah. Alexander.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, Christopher Neville Alexander. Yes.
You know those 2 brothers, right?
Yeah,
Very
man,
bright.
Yeah.
Michelle Mott and those people. Some of those people were the people that I fell into, and these people are academics in themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a grouping. That's a grouping I found myself into.
You start associate yourself with them people, and then yeah.
And a studious guy. I'm just trying to remember his name now.
So the Rhodes Scholars they were in your class or in that group too?
No, I met the road right. The road scholars were now in 5A. You're talking about Cabell Creed, Andrea Wright, and Pamela Miller, right? Those were in A. Remember, I was in B now,
Yeah.
right?
You're just below the quarter now, yeah.
Right. Those girls were over at A with Alexander and Neville. Well,
Yeah.
Neville was a higher. It never was in 6-1.
Yeah,
But
that's
his
the older
brother.
brother, Christopher the younger one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, once you're at B, you're close to A, so you're always moving into.
Yeah, man. It was fluid between A and B. It was much different at all. Yeah.
B, right? It was not so fluid between A and C, but once you're in B, you're now close with A, right?
Yeah, man, once in a B, you kind of in the pattern. You kind of just say, all right, you're moving a different circle now without you even realize.
It's amazing what is happening, and when you look back, and you would never know that you're in a classy situation.
Yeah. So let me ask you something though, and I don't want to answer if it's going to embarrass you, but if it turn out good, I want to answer the question. How did these students embrace you as somebody who come from the outside and come to Meadowbrook? Was it welcoming then? Did they were you felt welcome coming into Meadowbrook at the time when I moved from D to C to B to A?
You'd be amazed as to how they embrace me, and the reason for the embracement may be as a result of the ease in which I made them feel, and my approach as well, and the fact that they just don't see me as a ordinary person from a D or a C. I had some level of intelligence, and that in itself is a pull factor for them. It was a pull. So we share some common things, and so it was kind of easy to move and move around with them, because we share quite a bit of similarity.
No,
they understand that I was serious about my education.
Yeah, go ahead, Dante. We can't ever come on to make one, but go ahead, Dante. Sound like you can say something.
No, I wasn't saying no.
No. Overall, it's the way I bring up it's the same thing happening at the sports arena,
Yes.
I was an integral part of the sports thing, as you know. And it's the same. And what was happening at Meadowbrook at the time, now I look back, it's almost like Meadowbrook was being desegregated,
Yes.
You follow me? I said to you, it's like, it's a whole heap of footballers coming from the secondary school system like you, or a grade 9 school like you, who come from a different background, and they came into Meadowbrook and fit in seamlessly, and nobody. Meadowbrook was like, Meadowbrook never have no border wall. We put it that way there, because that to me was there was no border wall. Nobody no visa. Nobody can evict you. Nobody can deport you. Meadowbrook was a welcoming school.
It was a welcoming, all-embracing school, and I did not have any pushback. Feel as if I was lower than anybody else. I was warmly embraced by all of these people. All of these people that I'm telling about, the Jennifer theme, which would have been in the 5A and the 4A, that A stream. These are people who embrace me exceptionally well. I didn't have a challenge, no pushback, no feeling that you come from Riddle, so you can't associate it. Not at all. We didn't have that. And I don't think part of the philosophy of the school and the kind of Christian background, that devotion we all meet together right in that tennis court right there. That is where the devotion would be, right?
Yeah.
On a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I think the other 2 days it would be in the respective forms,
The
right?
host them, yeah, Rob host devotion.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the host, right? That kind of thing. So that coming together as one, what was very important in bringing people together.
Yeah, Meadowbrook was a special example. Oral. I didn't realize it go on until I start this and realize
Yeah,
the
yeah.
embracing thing, the and the openness up in Meadowbrook from both the administration, which is the teacher and staff, and the principal and the student was a magic. I sense a magic about it, because you think it's almost like. And I didn't say I didn't even knew that what they were doing, but Meadowbrook became a different school because we start to embrace people from outside our Meadowbrook was originally is, which is like you transition a school from in terms that the color of the people and the class of the people to it became a different place, and I think it became a better place. You follow me? I say because of that, because people like you come in now, you made the school better, and they got better because they learn. The people who they learn how to adjust and deal with people from all different walks of life, which is
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And
That. Go ahead, Dante.
and the demographics of the school, it continues to evolve. It's a different demographic now than what it was then, because I think in the late 70s, going towards the 80s, it started to have a few more people from other than the uptown brown people started to come in. But by the 80s, it was evenly populated with, as I say, it's like a melting pot now.
Yeah, which
You
me,
know,
which me
yeah,
love, which me love that,
yeah.
me love that. That
And
is, yeah, go ahead.
even not some foreigners that were there and stuff. So that's that. I think that is when now, I think maybe that kind of led to the success, as Jelly said. Some of the sportsmen started to come in from secondary school and that kind of thing. Yeah.
No, without a doubt. But go ahead, Worley. That's someone I get have something to say. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking. Dante put it very well. I mean, I recall he used to have an English biology teacher. I can't recall her name now, but she used to teach 5A principally. Very good biology teacher. I remember her name. She was an English lady. I just can't remember
Oh,
her
it's
name.
Baba you're talking.
No, Miss who? Bradba.
It's Baba.
No, man. Ellen Barber was another biology teacher. I'm talking about her counterpart in the same class, but she was a white English woman.
It's Miss Chambers you're talking.
Miss Chambers.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You remember Miss Chambers?
Yeah, man. Yeah. She never teach me, but yes.
Yeah?
She never teach me, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
She was an excellent biology teacher, she ended up teaching zoology at sixth form.
Yeah. She was a geology teacher. Some people have a different impression of her, but yeah, but that's the thing I go.
Yes.
Yeah, no. All have a favorite yeah, world, but I know because I remember our brother him never liked Miss Chambers at all, and him
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm not going into that. At all. So yeah,
Yes.
in the play sports and all them with it. So yeah, I'm a good brethren. So yeah, yeah, man. So the people, the school embrace you, and but let me ask you then, when you come in, were you surprised at the welcome and the embracing where you get? Based on the fact that you have never been into an environment like that, apart from what you see on TV and magazine. Were you surprised at the welcome and the embrace that you got?
I was somewhat surprised, but to be honest with you, I was not looking for a pushback or that I would have some kind of segregation, if you in inverted commas, if you will want to use that. I felt welcome, and I think the welcome was as a result of the fact that my sister was still there, and the fact that she's there and is doing well is an indication that all is well. And so I use that environment as one that is welcoming, right? And Miss Millwood, the guidance counselor, is a lady I will never forget. She always taken a very keen interest in my well-being and how I was doing academically. And she was also close to my sister because she was a devoted Christian because her husband was a pastor for a church out in Spanish Town.
Yeah, for Alfred talked about that because he had a good relationship with her. That was an excellent teacher. Yeah.
Right. And my sister was a Christian. So because of that, they share a common goal. And so she took an interest in her, and by extension me. Our brother just coming on campus. So I didn't have a challenge integrating myself within the school community.
What year did Jess leave Oral?
Jess left in 2 years after me, 1979.
She didn't go to sixth form.
No, because Miss McLennan, people just don't understand the power of Miss McLennan. He wanted to do nursing, and Miss McLennan commanded her and put her to stay to Short to Teachers College and said, "You are going to be a teacher." That's it. Her destiny was set by Miss McLennan. Going to Teachers College of Charges, she took her person up there, introduced her to the principal, and the rest was history. She taught for 22 years at Winrod Road All-Age School, and migrated to the United States, where she did what she really wanted to do, nursing.
Yeah, she was telling me that story last year, in fact.
Yeah. You know what I'm teaching business. But Miss McLennan dictate people's future and direction.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes people appreciate that, but not everybody, because some people have their own mind and they want certain things. Yeah, we're not perfect. We put it that way. We all make mistakes. Even with our own children, me try to step back from mine because I never try to push them to certain things. But I can't relate to that. I can't relate to that, Torah. Some people, Miss McLennan was a force of nature. So
force of nature. She tells you what you think is best for you.
And
might not necessarily be.
And if you remember, Miss McLennan was, I don't know if you know this, Miss McLennan would have come from an underprivileged background like yourself. Was of a darker complexion than even you and Dante. So she look out for in a particular way. It's like she became a mother figure to me, and like people like your sister, It's like she and Alfred's story, me I talk about the same, It's like, it's like she said, me not business what I want to do, me I got to tell you what I got to do, and me I got to make sure you get for the right thing. So for better or for worse, that was her. That was her.
And it may be whilst it may appear dictatorial, it may be a good thing because she wants to ensure that you don't drift. You have a direction when you leave the school, whether or not you like it. You're moving into something rather than drifting on a path that will take you nowhere. She's putting you on a path that will take you somewhere. However you want to deal with it when you get on that pathway, it's up to you. But I am putting you on this pathway.
Yeah, man, I agree that 100% Oral. It's like, what she did, the value what she brought to Meadowbrook and get to most of the students them. And there's no 100% for success, but the value where she get to a whole heap of children that look like she come from PR background and make sure them alright, can never be repaired. Because she look out for in a certain way where if it wasn't for she, a lot of people wouldn't get the exposure to certain things. Dante talk about his story. You follow me, I said to you? So it's like if some people, I mean, they're not to fall through the crack. I mean, not gonna disrespect nobody because sometimes people think say them wanted them one thing, but people think nobody good. And most of the time, she did more than good. She did more than good oral. So me not got discount what she do at all because what she did
No.
was
It was always coming from a good place.
yeah, and it when you think about it, you know, it was done in a time. Jamaica is not just Meadowbrook alone. Now. Jamaica was in a transitional period in the world. Because I remember, you know, when you come to school in the 1970s, you know, it was your political opponent who threw up that, you know. Let me just lick you in the head with that, you know. Because right, Dante, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because without, it's not a politics thing, oral. Without the whole, in the 1970s, man. When the PNP came to power, man, the whole that Jamaica in a sense, that was Jamaica's desegregation moment. And for better or for worse, the point is, you know, the worst part is you need money for the certain things, you know. But for the first 10 years of that oral, and we were beneficiaries of that. Me, you, Dante, we benefited from excellent education because the money was there. You follow me? I said it. So a group of we benefit from it big time because the government decided to step in and say, no, we're going to make sure people of a certain color, a certain complexion and a certain class get the opportunity to go to school and get high quality education. You follow me? I said it just said it was not sustainable, alright. So me what do you know? Me not say you follow me? I said to you, but it's like and Meadowbrook was part of that. We were beneficiaries of that. Me I talk for myself and me know who no benefit from it big time too because without that transitional period, me you couldn't dare no talk and behave certain way and I say the confidence that we get from that opportunity oral is a pity it could not be sustained.
Absolutely. And when you look back, you know, you could understand what Miss McLennan was trying to do.
Exactly.
It was a good thing, but she wanted to ensure that you have a future when you leave this campus. And when these opportunities came up, she wants you to capitalize on it, whether or not that is exactly where you want to go. This is an opportunity. There are 4 or 5 spaces. I remember it was easy to get into a teacher's college as well, you know.
No, it was right.
To matriculate into any tertiary institutions when we leave Meadowbrook High School because there are not many.
No.
Right? Today we have about 17 universities in Jamaica. At the time we only had 2 at the time, Carson UTech, Carson UA.
Yeah, Carson.
And you had about 3 or 4 teachers college.
Yeah, Michael Shartwood and
I think Bethlehem was there.
Bethlehem and you have Montego. But you have about 7 courses.
Yeah.
So yeah, no man, what she was doing was significant oral. Me now discount nothing what she do at all because she changed a whole heap of people's life for the better. And she knew what she was doing. She was consciously doing it and set out for do. And she make sure, and as I said last week when me that talk for me, and you right oral, me come from a different background than you. Me never need Miss McLennan. I was set in a certain way because I'm my parents, and then when we come to Meadowbrook now, Mr. Beckford give me opportunity where because me want to the opportunity. But so me get what I say. I get what you're saying, oral. I get what you're saying. So Miss McLennan, me never need Miss McLennan. I put it that way there. Me never have to lean upon her at all because the system was there for me and it worked for me a certain way. But someone Greg, get out about yourself and you oral and your sister oral. Unneeded, not so unneeded. Miss McLennan would have been making sure so you not fall down.
She was there, you know. She took a personal interest.
Yeah, man. Yes.
In our success.
Yeah, exactly.
I can talk for myself.
Exactly. So overall, you got 6th farm, you know. You repeat 5th farm. I never have know that. I did not.
Yes, I did.
So
a lot of people.
Because I mean when I repeat 5th farm, you know.
The performance is because I believe that I overrate myself. It's not I was successful in 5 O levels, except for maths and English. And I couldn't compare without maths and English.
The critical one, your wet name there. So alright, So you feel say you belong in a sixth form, but you're sorority. You feel whatever.
Yeah.
You feel the matter in English. So
Yeah.
how you feel when I repeat fifth form? Because me know me feel. Because unlike you know, me felt like I feel like because the two subjects were pass. I mean I say I waste my time. But by the time I get a system I know for pass the exam them now. So by the time by November I pass the exam, because I remember I could have done some repeating exam in November, you know.
Yeah.
So by November, I have enough subject could have got sixth form and all them. But how you did feel when you repeat fifth form?
To be fair with you, Jelly, it came across as if I'm just continuing school, because in my mind I believe that I could have performed better. And what was the foremost thing in my mind was to get the 2 additional subjects so I can get into sixth form and to university. That was the driving force. Nothing else mattered to me at that time.
You just focus on that, it didn't matter to you.
Math and English, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That and for that entire year that I repeated fifth form, I just focused on just doing math and English.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of time on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised, you know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And what year was this?
And that would have been 81. Because I left Meadowbrook at 83.
Oh, so you start sixth form in 81 then. Okay, 80. So,
Yes.
so hold on. No, I get it now. So it's 80 then. So that is the time now when you start have a robust political debate, because you have way for free time, you know, the library way.
Now we are understanding the trajectory of things.
No, I say, you weren't the normal fifth farmer. I come in, you done well for 6 hours already, and you come in and you join the core, and I say, you have this partaking of them debate there. I say, yes, no, I understand.
So I had some success academically when I was engaging in those robust discussions, but you would never know.
Right.
You would know I was repeating fifth form.
No, we never business, because we are saying it's just a robust debate we have, and if a man come with good argument, yeah.
No. You understand what transpired at the time. Now we understand it.
You know, I understand fully, man. You have the time, and you come with a certain amount of tenacity where, like I said, sure, the man I think I'm in a six farm, I know more than me, but me for their six.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No.
You were ahead of me, Jelly.
Eh?
You were ahead of me. When I was in repeating fifth form, you would have been in upper six if I recall.
No, man. If you leave school 83, I would have been in lower six.
Lower six, right.
You'd have been. When you say you came on the campus?
74. So I repeat fifth form.
Okay.
I started lower six in 1981.
Mm-hmm. No, man.
Okay.
Yeah, 81.
Yeah, 80 the September 80 I started lower six oral, right? Right, because I left Meadowbrook June 82. So I spent 81, 82 in upper six, and then lower six 80, 81. So yeah, it was that famous year, that election year was September 1980. Yeah. How you think about it? I talk about the introduction of oral, that when you think about that election and what we got through, and we come and Meadowbrook at school every day, I would never feared that bullet or tear gas or we have a discussion on the campus on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember you and Howard Thomas line up on one side, and then we
and Sharon Tracy always was on in my corner. Yes, was on your side.
who that?
And Lyndon.
Yeah, man, Linda on my corner. Yes.
Numbered, man.
Yeah, you were outnumbered.
Significantly outnumbered.
But I think even to this day, though, oral, it's going to take a whole heap of people to beat you in a debate.
Exactly. And
let me not say it, because the characteristic would have emerged from the time when I was at Meadowbrook, because the fact that I just named only about 3 of us who used to be robust on our side, and about 10 people on the other side, and I stood up. I got respect, and people, it was hard for people to take me on with the politics. You
man,
know that,
Yeah.
Jelly.
yeah, man, I know that, man. You're sharp, you're machete, man. You're sharp.
I'm prepared every day, you know.
Eh?
I come prepared every day for you
Yeah,
guys,
man, you
man.
get the newspaper and you come with the news and everything. And people have to understand, all right, let me just make this clear. This is before anything called internet exists.
Mm.
Precisely.
Yeah, the only thing we have
Precisely.
are the two newspapers, them, the Daily News and the Gleaner,
Yeah, absolutely.
and the radio station, them, and the talk show was a whole heap. And you know what, all right, now I think about it, the talk show was the strength of your thing, because talk show, they just a come on. And the talk show was the one them of the robust debate. And if you listen to that, you get most of the information them.
You get a lot of information.
Yeah, man.
You read a lot and listen a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah,
the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
at the time, because I was repeating FIFA, I'm just doing 2 subjects.
Right, so you have the whole heap of time. That's what I realize now. That's what I realize
Yeah.
now. And then you tell me say, you repeat FIFA. Me I say, oh, that is why you will have a whole heap of time for participate in the debate. Me I say,
We could have done We have
yeah,
a lot of
yeah, because yeah. Yeah. No, I get it oral. No, I understand what you say. No, I understand what you say.
absolutely,
But those
absolutely.
are some entertaining and, as I said, robust debate oral. Those are, and as I say, we come out of it unscathed. We're still good friends. As you say, you and Dante, even though they're on different political side, and still, it don't matter
Oh,
at all. And I wish
Close
Jamaica could have taken a
family.
leaf out of them book. Go ahead, Dante.
Yeah,
Sorry.
man. No, no,
ah,
I was just endorsing it,
mm.
We're still able to, and truth be told, even now with some others of my Meadowbrook friends that I keep in touch with to this day. When we link up sometime, we have these to be, and as you say, you wish Jamaica could take a page, cause that is where we need to go, you know.
But you bring up a valid point, and let me ask you on oral this, and oral more than you, but the two of you can answer this. Why you think that happened in Meadowbrook and in the way it happened oral, where it's not like the teacher them that to shut up and we could have come on the campus and have the most robust and vociferous debate and nothing it never gonna further than the debate. Why you think that happened? What was it about Meadowbrook that made something like that happen oral?
The camaraderie, I believe, and the respect that we have for each other. I think that was a critical thing because Jelly and Dante, when you leave the campus, me couldn't talk about politics out on the road, because that's different something that out on the road. Remember
A
that
different thing.
800 people died in 1980 in the height of politics.
Mm-hmm.
So my political discourse and discussions and conversations were only limited to that little church hall and the library at Meadowbrook High School. I was afraid to talk about politics when I left that campus. But you guys made me feel comfortable because we were not cantankerous. We were just defending our position. Which was a thing at the time we needed to engage in discussions and debate, and that's how I saw it at the time. I saw it as to how I can learn from you in terms of how you bring your discussions across, what points you bring across to knock me out, and what I put out to knock you out. Despite I was outnumbered,
Yeah,
But when I left that campus, politics done. I not go up on the road and talk about politics.
yeah.
Because it was extremely dangerous to do that.
Yeah, Dante, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, as Oral said, even now, too, I mean, there are certain
Maybe a little bit
places
different now. But yeah, maybe a little bit
outside,
different
a little
now.
different now, but at the time, you wouldn't just talk politics with anybody because and truth be told, not everybody can deal with that. Not everybody can have a debate on any issue at all and still respect each other's opinion and position on that topic, and still and it doesn't affect their feelings toward the person, their personal feelings. Not a lot of people can do it. So there must have been a level of maturity and camaraderie that allowed that to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said, Jelly, at the time, politics was a numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
Who can influence people to change or to consider their views? It was a numbers game. So if I had a good argument, I was good at telling people how one party was better than the other, and I can get people on my side. I was considered to be a danger to the mainstream politics because I'm influencing people to move from one side to the next.
Yeah, no, it's still
You
a number.
don't know you don't know the danger I was exposed to if I should have continued that outside of campus. And
No.
you notice that where it was done was right in that church or right to the back of the canteen there and certain sections of the library.
But
I didn't take it much further than that on campus.
But you realize, you know, this boy you're talking, you know, that's why Meadowbrook end up so great, you know, in that time, you know, because and politics is still a numbers game, because life is a numbers game, you know, oral. And a three choice of in our life, you know. We can either influence, you can ask people to change their mind by force, by persuasion, as you say, or by manipulation. And the course of me like most was the one we adopted at Meadowbrook. Unfortunately, Meadowbrook facilitated that, and the environment, because it was a changing environment. Meadowbrook never find itself yet, you know. Meadowbrook was just searching for itself in a oral. And because we got at the time, it's almost like we were allowed to create a culture at the school whenever never existed before, you know. So we could have the debate in a way where a facilitated it is like that. Because without debate, you know, I don't know how I go as a human being, you know. Because if you have force somebody to do something, a whole heap of people are dead. Which is what happened in the 1980s. But me I say, if you can't settle it with the debate, that is the way to go. But as Tegrega said earlier, is a lot of people just don't want to face that at all. But it's, to me, it takes a certain level of maturity. I mean, I say I'm more mature than anybody else. But that we just see it as a, if you not try the persuasion with oral, we kind of dark.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We kind of dark oral. That me wanted, I'm maybe for a second. I have an ulterior motive for that, though, you know. I don't know about you, but I have an ulterior motive why me like debate and persuasion. Me can't fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can't fight. Take Greg. I'm not like fight. Me not like get punched in my face. Me not like get cut. Me not want feel no gunshot. None of that at all. So me not take my discussion that way there. Let me see it with that debate. And the best one win. So me have my motive oral. And me think about it. Do all and me get at me and say, even my own personal life, you know, if you can't settle your agreement, your disagreement by talking about it, it not gonna work.
It not gonna work. It not gonna work, Prince. Not gonna work.
Not gonna work at all. So, I was happy to be a part of them debate the oral. Yo. The skill that we were fine tuned by those debates, as simple as when they take it oral, by listening to the other side and argue. Because every day me I come prepared to and I say, "Wonder where I come today." I know. Don't you kind of?
I'm come well prepared with my thing and showing you things. I mean, and by virtue of doing that, you are teaching yourself to do research. I mean, you just don't know what values you were trying to develop at the time when you were doing those things.
And it's a part of the whole development.
It was a beneficial thing when you look back.
All right, so let me put it on the spot. Look, I mean, I remember, and maybe if you remember, I will remember. Give me one of the most memorable thing with the beat. What you can remember?
All right, with you, yes, there is one particular one. With you and Linda, and I remember you describe a particular political leader as a Lebanon and a Syrian.
A Lebanese.
Yes, a Lebanese. Yes, you remember, right?
Yes.
And we took a strong offense and drove a set of discussions around that to indicate otherwise. If you remember that, I will never forget that about you Delhi, about the Lebanese, you and Lyndon describing the gentleman as a Lebanese and a Syrian, and he's not from here, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, man, because our terminal was my leader barnyard, so.
yes, but and of course, my argument is that this man gave something that nobody had given up at the time. He gave up his permanent residency in the United States to be part of the Jamaican political and
Yeah. I remember you saying that, Oral. It's like you can't just.
visa in 1980. Everybody was trying to leave the country.
And then come back to give.
And he was coming back and gave up.
Yeah.
And that was a strong rebuttal point. So you know what you remember those discussions, right?
Of course, I remember it.
I'm remembering those things vividly, you know, and that's almost 40 years ago.
Yeah, man, almost 40 years ago, last year. Exactly.
And I still remember those things.
Yeah, man, yes, I remember.
It's deeply etched in my mind.
Yeah. I will have a disagreement. I will leave it at that. We never take it no further at all. That was it.
Oh, yes, that's it. Once we get back to class, we resume the next day with our being and our news day and all of these things, and we're gone again.
Yeah.
Good point about it, you know, Prince. When the election's over, our debate done, you know.
Yes, because that means the country decide. There's nothing for debate no more, exactly.
There's nothing to debate again. You know, hearing them. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, after the debate is over, it was rebuilding time, as you would said, because your party win, and we have said, ratted.
Right. That was it. And in other words, the argument done and the argument was settled.
Yeah, man. One thing I remember profoundly about your side of the argument is that the more I get, the more you realize they take cash to care. So
it's cash to care and still is no.
Yeah, and that is the dynamic of life, you know. It's like you want care, you know, but at the end of the day, if you don't have resources, you know, we don't have unlimited resources, you know. So you have to have a way if you either create resources or you go. You can't say this. Yeah, it's a delicate balance, Oral.
Or use it creatively.
Yeah, exactly. It's a delicate balance. You can't say, boy, I spend and not say, right, so. Me understand. All of me get more. You know when me learn that Oral, let me tell you when me learn that early. Me learn that very early, you know. Very early, you know. Mm-hmm. I remember when I left school, I go get a minibus, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that, you know. Me have a minibus around from Meadowbrook Estate. Mm-hmm. And when me in a business now for myself, so I say, but hold on. The price of tire raise for my bus. And the government tell me, say, I can't raise the rate of my fare. And I say, this doesn't make no sense. Because my expense go up, Oral, and my income now go up because it's set. And I say, oh. No, I see that.
No, you understand.
So I learned very early, Oral, and I say, okay, when you have your own money and you spend your own money, you have to think about it differently. I say, right.
You have to think about it differently, Prince.
Different. You have to think about it differently.
Your fear table was set fixed.
Yeah, you have to think about it a little different, man. You have to think about it a little different. So all right, give me some of the good memories apart from the debate where you have a six farm. Some of the other memories that may have a Meadowbrook.
So the other major thing was my own experience interacting with some great friends at the time and faculty members at the time, because you know I give kudos to as I said to Rory and for giving me the ability and the competence to pass math at fifth form, which in the repeat situation which I had to pass. And then my English teacher at the time was Blossom Laidlaw. I don't know if you know Blossom Laidlaw.
I mean, she was an inspiration for me too. I struggled. I never passed English the first time I had an oral.
Right.
And she was like, but go ahead, yeah.
And about English and in particular, I was not good at what they call the agreement. The subject must agree with the verb.
Subject and the agreement, yes.
It was a difficult thing to understand, you know, with me coming from a rural school with very little knowledge and
the foundation basis of them things. Right.
That is basis of English language, you know. The subject must agree with the verb. Mm-hmm. Even though you sometimes you wonder if the subject agree with the verb. Even 60, almost 60 my age, sometimes I have to wonder. You know, when you put the subject, you just agree with the verb. Don't you sometimes have to wonder whether the agreement is in place?
Yeah.
So you have those, you have that experience in struggling with those things. You have experience in studying, experience with not much with the canteen except when you get into 6 months, because then that special lunch program I was on had ended when they leave fifth form. It was up to a certain point, you see.
Hold on. You can't gloss over that thing. Talk about the lunch program there. Because you and I were talking about it before. And
Yeah.
I was aware, right, because some of the money upon the Sunlight team did benefit from it in a certain way. Right? I never knew, say, you were part of that beneficiary. I know about the canteen run at the back there, because we used to cook both. I don't know if you remember that. We used to run our one pot run at the back of that now. We and some of the football them. We put one.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
With the people run at the back canteen that the same way oral. But talk about that school feeding program, because a lot of people in Meadowbrook probably never aware right at all.
They were not aware of it, but you would not know how many people were benefiting from that program and how it has fitted their nutrition and ability to learn when they get back to classes. Because sometimes they come to school without breakfast.
Yeah.
I was in that league. Right?
Yeah.
And it was that special lunch program that Miss Millwood put me on that gave me the strength to absorb. I mean, a lot of people just don't know. And it's only when lunchtime come and you see how many people leading and coming around that area, because they have a limited time, you know. Lunchtime was just 1 hour, so the meal have to be prepared. And there were 2 lovely ladies around there that prepare the meals. I can't recall their name now, but I'm looking at them right now as I speak. One was tall and one was a short, dark lady. Very good. They prepare some lovely meals, really lovely meals.
So hold on, another special lunchtime.
Yeah, man. Well, you same lunchtime, ordinary lunchtime when you go for lunchtime, right? So the same lunch break that we get and everybody gets. I run around the corner for my lunch. You go to pick or you go to the canteen.
Yeah, going a different direction. Yes.
So we will never cross paths at lunchtime. You only see me when we come back at school or when we don't eat my food. Right? Because they have a limited time.
And
I don't know that you never know about that canteen.
No, sir.
Well, there you go.
But you realize the beauty of that oral. The beauty of that, is you are able to eat a food without even feeling like, say, you're small or you're big or nothing like that at all. It was set up in such a way, oral. That's the beauty of Meadowbrook, Them never gonna make you feel no way for serrated or we are give them because them poor. Make sure they get food because they need food to learn. But at the same time, it's quiet.
Right, exactly. And it was highly subsidized by the church as well, because it's a church school.
Yeah. Because you never have to take no money out of your pocket to eat that food.
No, it was a free thing.
Yeah.
It was free. It was a free offering.
But well, you shouldn't have said that, as a man from the other political side, nothing free. So. Dante, you see, I them debate me and would have, so him knows him can't answer them thing and get.
You still want to go back to those debating things because then the mantra that they was what at the time was free education, free tuition, and I benefited from free tuition at UW2.
Welcome to that. I have a fascinating story about that. Yeah, go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
And the money we used to get every term.
Yeah, man, the grant, the student grant and the grant, not the loan so much, because the loan you have to pay back, but the grant you love.
I get the loan, man, the benefit from a student grant, we call it, or
It was grant, you get one, you have to pay back, man. They get a couple of that when I go cast.
Yes.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, man, that you get, man.
Education and a student grant for you.
Oh, yes, man. So, Dante, I know about that. Listen, when we start cast, you get a check every term, You follow me, I said to you? And it's when oral people them coming up on, you know, I have to march from half a tree, from cars to go to half a tree. Because that cut off because the money man say, no more of this.
It lasted a long while. I think it discontinued only in 1987.
No one lasted a long because the march, people they still get back. Not that much, them cut it down a little bit, but yeah.
So they are cut back and they
No, once you pass the CASA you wait, Dante, you get a grant, man.
Yeah.
And a whole heap of money them time the oral.
whole heap of money. Whole heap of money, Prince.
Yeah,
You know
money,
it.
but yeah.
At the time for me it was a lot of money. You know
Yeah, man,
what I mean?
if I get 500 of them time, I think about that. I don't remember what total was, but
I think it was 700.
it could have stretched a whole heap, man. Could have buy when me get the money Dante, you can buy a car, you can do this to them the money, man. So So the point is, you know, it's like a whole heap of man benefited from that school feeding thing there at the school, and nobody, Dante never know about it, and that is
even each brother there was a beneficiary because we used to buck up around.
Yeah, man, yeah.
More
Yeah, Jim Rai, yeah. No, man, that was a wonderful thing when Meadowbrook did, man. That was, I don't even, because when we used to go primary school now, primary going on, and we used to have school feeding program for the youth them at a primary school too. But it was just so open. You don't look and know who I eat and what I call it. We have a name feed at the primary school, Bowl of Slush. We never know them name there.
Yeah, man.
So it's like, it's almost like you got stigmatized, man. It's like you wouldn't be caught getting eat Bowl of Slush. Because I know some Bowl of Slush you not get run at the canteen. Food probably
no, a good food better than what the canteen program.
But I know that you have better prepared food and nicer food. That's what me I buy.
Yeah, man, what talk about, man? And then bake tea and then bake toast around there and give it to you, man. There's some serious food that go around there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Or better tasting from what the canteen used to provide. I don't know because it was not a mass produced meal. I tasted better because it was.
Yeah, but that would have been the main reason why it wasn't mass produced because it was not.
It was for
less
people. It was
Less
being prepared
people.
for less.
And so more love was put in it, you know.
It was almost like a family touch of food, man. Like a family food I get to it. It wasn't a mass produced thing where money I make off it.
And the two cooks look forward to us coming because they know our situation.
Yeah.
And they were sympathetic to our causes. They know we come from way up in the bush.
Yeah.
They knew our background, you know.
Yeah, man. So let me ask you something though. Let me ask you something before me ask you about the six farm and the Yowie and the casting. You say your father was a farmer, your mother was a higgler. Did you at any time I forgot sell with your mother when she go market?
Let me tell you. Here how the situation works.
Yeah, tell me about that, man. Talk about that, man.
I'm familiar with it now. So I attended school every single day. I never absent from school to sell it. I only sell in the market. I only sell on a Saturday. So my mother would go into the Coronation Market and buys wholesale. Sometimes she sells there, but principally she goes from Wednesday to Friday, buys wholesale, store the goods that she buys at a place on Red Hills Road. And in Saturdays when we go down and sell, my brother and my other two brothers, and we control all the supermarket on Red Hills Road. I was at some supermarket. One of my brothers was at Harold, and the other supermarket at the time was Lee's Food Fair. Those were the three supermarkets along Red Hills Road. There was none other.
And you and your family have a franchise too.
A franchise. We just control the selling out of that. And because of my situation, I got a lot of support, because it's amazing. I stopped selling at Sunrise Supermarket when I was doing my GCE O-levels,
Yeah.
I used to take my biology books, my commerce book, geography book, and studied when I have no client serving at Sunrise Supermarket on a Saturday. That's the Yeah, I mean, right on Reddy's Road, they're right in, and Sunlight Supermarket was the biggest supermarket on Reddy's Road at the time.
Yeah, me used to go shop this. I
Yeah.
know you talk. I know exactly what you talk. I used to live just on the road there from Mukal with a
That
cup.
is where my entrepreneurial spirit emerge and derive and still continue to be.
So,
It taught me how money is how you handle money, you know,
Right.
and how important money is, and how
Mm-hmm.
important it is for you to manage it.
yeah.
Because I have never been in a situation where, and I was not paid for going there. You know, I just took money from the sales.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I took the cleanest notes at the time, and the biggest note at the time was a $50 bill. We never
Mm-hmm.
had nothing from $50 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
used to come to Meadowbrook the next morning with several crisp $50 bills in my pocket, pop up my pocket, and people believe that I have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm. But you know,
But that's what took care of me at school.
you know, a whole heap of- but me ask you something though, cause I bring up something now. Whenever I'm not think about until I come up with a conversation because. And God bless your mother, you know, cause she's still alive. She passed on last year, as you say.
Right.
92, yes.
Your mother and father did a great job, you know, because I mean, I listen to you and I say, you know, at no time you never turn and look at your mother and father and say I go high school, say no business with them with them. Because a lot of people do that, you know.
No.
They forget where them a come from and feel so them can't sell this or can't sell that or them can't make. But then if I ask you, because I know say you were never ashamed of what you do. Because you say,
Never, ever. And I want to tell you something, you know, Jelly. Several of the students' parents would buy from me there. They come with their Clavel crate, the mother, buy planting from every Saturday, and Clavel is right beside her, holding her frock tail. Never forget that. Our soul rest in peace. I will never forget when she passed, when her mother passed, you know, from cancer at the time.
that's
know.
Cavell mother, yeah.
Yeah. So Cabell mother used to buy from me right out there. Pamela Miller, I don't know if you know Pamela Miller.
I know the name,
Yeah. All of them people they used to buy from me right there. And I was not ashamed.
yeah.
I was not ashamed.
Them come patronize you and you not feel no way at all, yeah.
No. I mean, I was just selling my goods were attractive and they just move over. The people were selling similar things, you know, but my planting was the best looking planting. I thought I am that they see it. You know, they see it, you know. I mean, the orange and blue, you know, it's an experience that.
I want to ask a question, you see. It's
Mm.
not related to Meadowbrook, but would you say the stigmatization of these types of things, you know, creative entrepreneurship, would you think there's a stigmatization to it? Probably you yourself at the time. Would you say would you say that this kind of thing has probably helped to retard entrepreneurship in amongst young people?
Well, at the time when I was doing that, there weren't anybody like me in that business on Reddy's Road.
Right.
It was just older people.
I know.
In that there was nobody like me. Nobody there was no student attending a high school selling on Reddy's Road
Right.
and selling in front of a supermarket. I was the only one doing it, and
Yeah,
everybody talk about it and still talk about it now. You know,
yeah, man.
even at my mother's eulogy, it was mentioned. You know, because
Mhm.
it was a very important journey in my life that
Right.
time.
But
You know, we just didn't have it.
me answer that to you, Dante, because my story kind of different from Ora, but it kind of similar. You know? I chose entrepreneurship right after I left
Right.
Meadowbrook, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? I said it, but I chose it oral, whereas you were entrusted upon it because you never have a choice. Me chose it.
Right.
So when me get my bus on the side, say, and me get, as a matter of fact, me tell a story all the while. My father sell a house at Duane Park. And me at age 19 could have convinced my old man to give me the $30,000 if I could buy a minibus to start one minibus on Village Road, Meadowbrook Estate Road. So me choose it. And to answer your question, Dante, I think it's a fall in a feeling in Jamaica where entrepreneurship is frowned upon a certain way. But it never mattered to me. Even me choose it, I don't business man say, because at the time, overall, me I go you know, and me carry my bus some morning time, you know, and the driver I go pick it up. And me I go you and then they come home. So me was part, what me I say, no, me I hustle and then me go school. Because me never see it as nothing.
Right.
Because me look, here I look on the world of my business. I want them there, I can have several of them bus here, if that is a good business for going. That's something I look on it, you know. But it's a mindset. It's not an easy mindset, oral. Not me. Never. It never even crossed. But I didn't give a. When I was for my podcast, I didn't care what anybody want to think.
Yes.
Right.
So I got me up on the bus and I hustle because you know man look on me the bus. So it's like
man.
if I said to your oral, so it's not like say. So me understand what you said. That's why I asked the question. Me understand what you said, but me never.
Yeah, cause that says I'm on a drop out of school.
Exactly. But hold on. I mean, I call the teacher name. Teacher, who come at the time, did see me, I hear about me, and frown upon the fact, say, look on him have me level, and I'm driving bus, and the person for career car, and I said, but I'm business. So, me understand what I said, but that never ever stopped me at all, because that entrepreneurship was something in my blood from after I left school, so. But if you answer your question though, I think it's a downfall of Jamaica because without entrepreneurship is all about creativity, you know. That's what it's all about, you know. Alright, you learn how to do everything, I learn how to be creative, you know. And if and I'm not discount education or not like that at all. But I think the most important education is entrepreneurial education, and we frown upon it. We look down upon it from as small as you are sell as a higgler, your old lady are sell as a higgler oral. You see me I said to you, it's all about creativity and business and all them things. And me think Jamaica will be a better place if we focus on it more. But that's my answer for that, Dante, because I understand the question where you ask. And my answer is I think we have dropped the ball with that as a country. And as most of the school them don't focus on it at all. They frown upon it. So
because true, man. My mother and Errol and Oral mother was similar. Cause my mother is Oral mother, younger sister. My mother did probably a little more aggressive, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can tell you, I know Oral get a whole lot of lessons from his mother. And I know I get a whole heap of lessons from my mother in terms of life development and, you know.
Yes.
Them type of things.
No, man, this skill where the people bring to... As a matter of fact, you know, Oral, and you know this too, Greg. It was those people, I mean, they never said those people, and them kill them and name after a while. It was Nicola, it was informal, commercial importer.
Yeah.
Who were the backbone of Jamaica during the time when things were tough.
Yeah, man.
Because they created them go to Panama. Anyway, them things say them can go and make a money. I mean, I tell you. So, people underrate that at the moon peril, but it was those people. I'm going to say those, but not do it in a way for discard nobody or demean nobody. It was your people like your mother, Oral, and Greg mother, in a sense, who think entrepreneurial and I say, I'm going to make this work, you know, because without this, we're not going to eat our food. Because them have the education background where we end up getting, you know. Them never access to the free education where we get, you know.
Yeah, what my thinking is doing, you know, is that, you know, like them never have the education background where we have. But what they had was more creativity and more, they were just more industrious. So my thinking is if people that coming up after them were probably have a little more education. If we could have combined both the creativity and
is that a little bit about one, Dante? I agree with that.
But what happens is that because people frown upon it, You know, that
They,
kind of business.
they make people
You,
shy
you,
if do it and want
yeah,
to do it. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
so everybody that gets an education wants to be as oral, say a chartered accountant
yeah,
or
yeah,
a
yeah.
doctor or a lawyer. Them want to do some IT thing. If them say them get them education and them want to use it to do some sort of business. You know, that's why some too many people not going into business on them own, them not owning them own business.
Yes, yes.
There's not enough entrepreneurship. You know,
Yeah.
now them say them want to start teach it
Yeah, and,
into
and it's in our blood. It's in our
it's in
blood.
our blood. Yeah.
It's in our them just I think we start teach it in our blood, man.
Yeah.
Me do it, oral
Yeah.
do it, and the old people do it. So it's in our blood. So
Yeah, man.
oral. Talk to me about six farm now. In terms of say that journey from six farm to UA and cast. Tell me what that story about.
Right. So I entered sixth form with some fantastic teachers. Lennox being my economics teacher. Um, Miss Jones, Phyllis Jones, geography, and the other lady would teach physical geography. Um, and so I did economics, geography, and maths and GP, of course. Our GP teacher at the time was Miss Margaret Morris,
Dr.
if you
Mart
remember.
recently passed. Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Passed recently?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Since this year. Since
Yeah,
this year. Yeah,
since
man.
this
Yeah.
year. Since this year. Probably
This year?
Yeah, man.
a
Since me I do the
couple months
podcast,
ago.
it came out 1 week, man. Yes, yes, yes.
And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, we'll have to talk about that another time. But Margaret Morris was my GP teacher. Lennox Dean was my economics teacher. Mr. Lawson was math. And Miss Jones Miss Jones taught economic geography. And I'm trying to remember that list who taught physical geography. So those were the four subjects I did. I was successful at three GP, economics and geography. And as I said to you at the time, I was just doing these subjects. I just didn't know where it was taking me. My colleagues used to applying for UTech and UWI. I didn't even know about application, how to go about application, what the application process entails. And so on. It's not like now where you could do online thing. They say you have to go up to university or go up to UTech. And I don't even know where university and UTech was at the time. You know what I mean? So hear this now. So because I was deep in the politics now, Mavis Gilmore was Minister of Education at the time.
Yeah.
And of course, I work in her election.
Yeah.
And I went down to the Ministry of Education and told her that, this is my performance at sixth form, and I would like to go to CAST.
Yeah.
And she wrote a letter to, at the time, the head of CAST was Dr. Alfred Sangster.
Yeah.
And I was admitted in the business administration diploma. I think it was a diploma.
Diploma, and I started a course at the world. I did 1 year right. Yeah.
And at the same, I think that was the day after I got the result. And the Saturday, my mother took me back to Sunrise Supermarket. And one of the ladies who regularly bought from me was I will never forget that lady, Miss Christie. She worked at UWI in the examination section. May her soul rest in peace. She passed 2 years ago. And I told her I was successful with 2 GCE with GP. And she said to me, bring my result paper out by sunrise next week, the following week, Saturday. And let me tell you, that was history. I got into university through that lady. One of the most difficult institutions to get into at the time. Miss Christie got me into university. I wanted to do management studies, similar to what I wanted to do at CAST. My my real goal was you were all the while in this. So I was going to use CAS as a stepping stone and progress. Right? So I always wanted to do management. So I always wanted to do business, right? And you know, I was already steep in business. And I couldn't get into management studies. It was social sciences faculty was the most difficult faculty to get into.
Yeah,
Law,
competitive. Yeah.
you can't get into it. So I had to enter university through the faculty of
Arts.
arts, arts and liberal studies.
I
They
know
call it
that.
that.
Similar story me have oral. Go ahead.
Right? And then I had to selectively now choose my as many social sciences subjects as I could,
As you
and
want. Yeah.
that's at them to get the transfer in year 2.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, they are limited to the amount that you can carry as well. Right? Right. But so I selected geography and social sciences in the Faculty of Arts and Liberal Studies. Right? That was, and so on the social sciences side of that degree program, I chose as many social sciences subjects as I could.
Yeah.
And manage, right? And I was fortunate that I remember I did 5 social sciences subjects and carrying as well 5 on the geography side, because in the first year of that subject you have to carry a minimum number on each side. And I chose 2 additional subjects for social sciences. I was doing 10 subject areas in my first year. You know how challenging that was, right? And I was successful in that first year program. Never fail a subject and pass all of my social sciences subjects, 3 with A's and 2 with B's, and that's how I got the transfer.
And you realize all you want was the opportunity, you know. And you realize you got the opportunity to come to Meadowbrook because your mother was get fearful, and then because of your mother connection you sell a Reynolds Road, you get another connection. So exactly what. So I want people when them say I don't want them honorary to understand, say something I do things, you know, don't honorary what you do, you know, respect what you do.
You focus and know what you do,
Exactly,
what you want to do, and what you want to achieve. And I never realized what I really wanted to do until the latter part of 4C and 5B.
Yeah, connection. That's
And you know, because then you network with a different set of people. And despite the fact that I did so well in the social sciences subject in geography and social sciences as a degree program, I never get through with management studies. I had to choose economics and management.
Because a competitive thing. Yeah.
To get into management studies.
Yeah, but
Right?
me ask you.
Yeah, I graduated with upper second class in economics and history after that.
But me ask you a couple of last questions, Oral, because I know you tell me say you have a commitment for cut off at a certain time. I want to get close to it. So a couple of last questions I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you two of them in one. Life lessons you learn at Meadowbrook, you pass on to your friends and family. That's the first one. We learn from Meadowbrook, we pass on to your friends and family. Couple of quick last questions.
One of the standout things that I learned at Meadowbrook is and I miss that, and you know, it's something that I carried throughout life. How you talk to people, how you embrace people, and the importance of talking to people regardless of the level that they are. That was a big takeaway from one of the big takeaways from Meadowbrook. Also, another big takeaways is the significant support I got from my students and from the faculty and from the guidance counselor, the guidance council department, which assisted tremendously in getting me through the institution. And because of that, I'm always giving back because of what I got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so one of the biggest thing was I joined the Council for Voluntary Social Services, which you know is one of the biggest um, volunteer organization in Jamaica.
That's good, Aura. That is very impressive. One other quick question before me ask the last couple or two. What message did I get to existing student or future student or staff member? We're going to hear this podcast tomorrow, next year, 10 years time. What message did I get them? What message did I get to the rest of people them? You talk, cause I hear you.
How far did they hear me?
No, never hear nothing at all, Aura. From the message, what message you get to students, upcoming students or people who are listening to this 10 years?
Right. So what I would share with the younger students who I see almost every morning because I have to drive past medical every morning to work is that you're going to face tough challenges when you go to school and in particular you know any institution that you go to, whether that in Meadowbrook or a tertiary institution. You have to exercise patience because there are a lot of virtues in patience. I realize that I've lived it. I am aware of it. You know, it has been exceptionally good to be patient. It's also exceptionally good to not to develop a dependency syndrome. Try and see how you even at university, even at Meadowbrook, see how you can generate extra income. I did it a lot when I got the scholarship to go to England and at Bradford University. I was one of the first evening scholars in 1995, and you know there were a lot of students from Africa and two from I will never forget from one of these southern European countries. Just trying to get the name of it now. But while I was on that Bradford campus, I made money helping some of those students to write essays, you know, essays in economics and statistics and so on, and made money. So generating additional income while you are learning is a good thing. It eases your dependency on your parents, reduces the stress on them, and at the same time, you're helping yourself on a journey without too much help. So which might not be coming.
What you tell them more is what you telling the future generation about embrace entrepreneurship every day.
Embrace entrepreneurship.
Every day.
Entrepreneurship is a good thing.
Everybody
has some entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah, man. You have to turn Dr. Lawyer Indian Chief. Embrace entrepreneurship because that is really good.
Even a lawyer is an entrepreneur because he runs a practice. A doctor.
Yeah, if you're not do that, if you're not thinking that way, you become an employee, and it's a different thing.
You become an employee.
Yeah, so
and you can't move too much by depending on
yeah. Because I know you press the time. Let me ask you the last two questions. But well, the one go to you and Dante now. Is there any question where you think I could ask you, but I never ask you? Dante, any question you like me ask who I never ask him?
No. None that I'm thinking of now.
Yeah. Alright, any question where you think I could ask you, but I never ask you?
You have asked a comprehensive set of questions. I don't know what else is missing that you couldn't ask. The only one that you could have asked directly, but I think I would have answered it, are which teachers at Meadowbrook were inspirational in my achievement, those that I look up to and admire. I mean, I think I've answered it somewhat, but I mean, it was not a direct question.
No, okay. So you can name them. Which two teachers you look up to and
admire? One of them is there are just about 6 of them that I would say stand out. Lennox Dean in 6. So I was saying at 6th form, Lennox Dean and Phyllis Jones, 5th form, Blossom Laidlaw and Rora McGregor. and coming up through third form to fourth form. One of the persons I will not forget who shaped my life is the guidance counselor,
Mrs. Millwood.
Mrs. Millwood.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent, Mr. Dennis Gooden. You know, he was a hard taskmaster. Taskmaster.
I hear you, Oral.
So those are the ones that I remember clearly and vividly, and as major shakers and movers.
Yeah. So me go ask the last question. Dante, you know the last question. Close it out with the last question for me. Dante? No, there. Oral.
Yeah.
Ask the last question, Dante. You know the last question?
Yeah, man.
Ask.
What? No, you asked that already.
No, you ask it, man. The last question I ask Oral the last. Oral, you there, can't sound like him trip out back again.
I'm here.
Alright, go ahead. Ask the question. Ask the last question. Any question you ask, Dante, and let me ask the last question.
Alright. No, I'm good.
Oral, I think Dante do ask you. Any embarrassing moment you want to talk about a Meadowbrook? Where you have to leave with a smile?
Any embarrassing thing that left me with a smile?
Yeah, where you can't talk about back with a smile, yeah.
Well, I want to tell you something. You know, it may be embarrassing, but it turned out to be one of the best things that could ever happen to me. I recall one of my good friends at 4C, Michelle Mott, will never forget her. When I just entered Meadowbrook, I had some cavities at the front of my smile front, and Michelle Mott personally took me to her dental surgeon on Melmac Avenue. We'll never forget that gentleman, and she introduced me to the gentleman. I had an examination, and he recommended that I do some filling to those, and it was a very important, though embarrassing at the time when she suggested it. I have not lost a tooth at all as a result of that intervention.
That's embarrassing. That's a life-changing event, Oral.
It's a life-changing. That's something, and you put it so nicely. You say embarrassing, that makes you smile.
Yeah. That was the question. Dante, thank you for bringing up that question. Can't forget about it today.
That's a perfect question. And I hope that Michelle Mott is hearing me, because she needs to know the
background to it. Yeah, no, well, you have to make sure she hear it.
That intervention.
Yeah. But when me ask you the last question, well, come and respect your time. Only blow by you now.
Yeah.
What made Meadowbrook magical?
Repeat that again for me.
What made Meadowbrook magical?
What I think that what made Meadowbrook magical, and well, and particularly in the latter part of the 80s, was those two Rhodes Scholars. You know, a lot of people just don't know that Meadowbrook really came on the scene as a top institution because of Pavel and Andrea, and it because of the closeness in which those two awards were done. Meadowbrook was featured and was really in the public for a good 2-3 year period. People began to respect the school and the scholastic achievements that followed. So I think that intervention was a big thing. Not to mention the impact that the Samuels continue to. The mere fact that they are successful people in life. Son Bert Samuels and her sister, who is also another top criminal lawyer. And their Meadowbrook journey. It says a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does oral. It does. It does. It does. It does. Anyway, I'm happy we could have do this oral. Respect you that you find the time to come do this. Dante, big up every time for come step in, come face the bowling here. I'm not interfere, not bowling at all. So
No.
oral, as usual, you know, them you could have go longer, you know, but I'm sorry that you have to leave at the time where you leave.
I really wanted to go longer,
Mm-hmm.
but I had another commitment.
No man, we understand. We understand that. We understand that. This we do a good 2 hour. We do a good 2 hours. So I appreciate both of you take the time out to come do this on the Sunday evening here. So and all the people here talk about him over, they reach out to them, share the podcast to them, and make them know say them
Absolutely.
welcome.
I have a few people that I send it to every week when you send it to me.
And send me a link to them, man, and make me talk to them
And
and
I
invite
have a
them.
lot of people who want to hear my story, so they are looking for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you tell them so them can reach out to me and work out that thing that them can come on. So don't worry about that. All right, oral. Take Greg.
We will keep the link because I have a few more people that I need
No,
to...
definitely, man. I'll keep in touch, man. I have to keep in touch, oral.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Dante, we talk.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, man. Good. Bless, of course. Bless.
Yeah, man. Bless, yeah. Thanks for listening to Meadowbrook Memories. And remember to give us all the support and encouragement you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. And special thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince, who takes care of everything involved in getting the podcast out every week. And without him, this podcast would not be possible. It is his expertise that allows me to do what I love doing every week, having great conversations about Meadowbrook Memories, and he's responsible for everything else. So again, thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince.